Hello, thank you for joining me. Happy New Year. It's my first video of 2025. It's a very cold January day and I'm at Taplow Station. That way's looking towards Reading. That's where we're heading to initially. Today is the first of a new series which I'm going to do throughout 2025 and beyond. It's called Largest Town in the County Without a Railway Station. So the idea is to go to all of the largest towns which don't have a railway station but travel there by public transport. There's a train passing on the fast lines. So is the Class 387 speed towards London. Yes, the idea is to visit all these largest towns, but to get there by public transport. Now, in order to qualify, the town has to not have a railway station in the form of, that there's trains every day. So an example of a couple of towns that wouldn't qualify, which don't have a national railway station: Cheshire in Buckinghamshire, it's on the Metropolitan line at the end of one of the branches, and Oldham in Greater Manchester. It doesn't have a railway station or national rail station anymore, but it has the Metrolink trams. There's a couple of examples which wouldn't qualify. So today, as I mentioned, we're catching a train to Reading. When we get to Reading, we're going to make our way to Woodley, because Woodley is the largest town in Berkshire without a railway station. So I'm going to wait here for my Elizabeth line train to arrive, take me to Reading. When we get to Reading, we shall continue on and we'll find out how we're going to get to Woodley without it having a railway station. So I made it to Reading. Of course, the original station building is now the Free Guinness Public House. Over there somewhere is where the buses go from, so I'm going to find my way around there. Let's go and find a bus to take us to Woodley, the largest town in Berkshire without a railway station. So here we are, I'm now leaving Reading on the bus. Now, as for when we go to these largest towns in the county without a railway station, most of them will probably find once had a railway station. But in Woodley's case, there never was a railway station. Now, the main reason Woodley doesn't have a railway station is because at the time when they built the railways, Woodley simply didn't exist in the form it does today. It was just a very small village, which we'll go and have a look at what there is of the original Woodley. But interestingly, the actual boundaries of Woodley to the north and to the south are railway lines. So what we'll do, we'll have a look at the railways on the edge of Woodley, but there's not actually a railway station, as the whole point of this video shows. So as we make our way out of Reading, Reading is quite an interesting case when it comes to public transport. It's a very large town. It's tried to become a city a few times. It's never succeeded. It did once have a tramway, and then the trams were closed down and they were replaced with a trolleybus system. The trolleybuses ran until 1968. And then from then on it's just been usual buses, but Reading has grown a lot since 1968. Of course, Woodley, although not part of Reading, is right next to Reading, and it's all the same urban area. It's one large conurbation. So what would be really great, I don't suppose it never happened, but if this was, say, a country like Germany or Switzerland maybe, there would be a tram network here, or at least a trolleybus network, but a tram network once again would be fantastic, because like I said, Reading's pretty large. I was in Switzerland last week and I was in Lucerne, a town of 80,000. It's got trolleybuses. That was great fun riding the trolleybuses. But like I say, if Reading had a tram system, it could have a few tram routes. Certainly one going out to Woodley, perhaps one to the north to Emma Green, one going south down towards Shenfield, one going the other way out towards Tilehurst. Reading, it'd be fantastic if Reading had a tramway. Anyway, unfortunately it doesn't, so we're on the bus and we're going to continue on to Woodley, and then, like I say, we're going to have a little look around when we get there. So I just got off the bus over there and here we are. This is the centre of Woodley. Now I'm going to turn the camera as soon as I get into the shade and show you the town centre. Have a look at this. I think this pretty much proves the point as to why there's no railway station here. It's all 1950s. and 60s buildings and possibly a few later ones. Because as I said, the town of Woodley is bordered by railways to the north and south, but the town centre here, this is about as far away from those railways as possible. But what we're going to do, we're going to go to where the railways are. We're going to go to the north and look at the GWR main line. I'll show you why it's never really been considered they build a railway station there. Then we're going to go south to the line from Reading, which goes down towards Wokingham, and we'll have a look there. But before we do that, I've pretty much shown you what there is of the town centre. It continues on down there. Someone's going to have a wander down there. We're going to go and find Woodley Green, the very original village of Woodley. Woodley now nearly has 38,000, so you know it's a fairly large town not to have a railway station. There are larger towns, but it's a fairly large town not to have a railway station. But I'll show you how it started off as a very small place, which wouldn't have even been considered to have a railway station. So I'm just going to have a wander up there, and then let's go and find Woodley Green. I just thought I'd show you down the other end of the main shopping street. I quite like this little area here, this green area in the middle of the shops. And behind me, one of the newer buildings, there's a Waitrose. I've just been in there and got a coffee. It doesn't have my other favourite W establishment. There's no Wetherspoons here, but I suppose there can't be one everywhere, and there are two in Reading. Anyway, as promised, I'm now going to find my way out of the town centre, and let's go and find Woodley Green, the original Woodley. About a 10-minute walk away from Woodley town centre, I found Woodley Green. This is the very original part of Woodley. There's the Bull and Checkers pub, which, as you can see, it's a fairly old building now. Most of the other buildings around here, these are all newer. They've been built as the town grew, but this is the very original Woodley. And like I say, we're still quite a long way from any of the railway lines. That way's looking north, so that's where the Great Western Main Line is. So yeah, it really just, there'd have been no reason to have put a station here. I know there have been some very small places, maybe where there's been a landowner and a station has been built. That's not the case here, so that's why there never was a railway station in Woodley. As I say, most of the towns we're going to find on this series probably did have one once. There will be the other odd exception, so it's a bit of an unusual one to start with, one that's the largest town without a railway station and never had a railway station. A form of transport Woodley did have, and is quite often associated with, is again out that way. There was a large airfield, or known as Reading Aerodrome, or Woodley Aerodrome it's also been known as, and actually did build aeroplanes there, I understand. There's a museum, which I'm not going to go to today because it's probably not open, but there is a museum, an aviation museum, which you can go and visit. But most of the former airfield has now been built on, they've built houses on it, and I understand some of the roads have aviation like names, which I think is a really nice touch. So that's probably the biggest association Woodley has with transport. You got the River Thames further north, but that doesn't flow through Woodley, so there's not really even any water or transport, no rivers or canals. So yeah, Woodley's only real transport is buses, and it was once aeroplanes. I've just found St John the Evangelist church here. So this is the parish church for Woodley. I understand it's a Grade 2 listed building. Not many listed buildings in Woodley, because as I say, it's a fairly modern town, so most buildings haven't, you know, merited being listed, but this is one of them. Really quite a nice looking little church. I'm going to go and see if I can have a look inside, and then we shall continue. We're going to go and find what else we can see in Woodley. So I'm about 3/4 of a mile away now from the church. I've been walking through pleasant housing estates. As for there not being a railway station in Woodley, the common thing we'll keep finding is references to railways. And I said I'm taking you to the northern boundary where there is a railway. As I was walking along, I walked past someone's garage. I wasn't going to put it on camera, but I just saw a man playing with his model railway in his garage, and that made me smile. I thought that was really nice. So we're now heading towards the Great Western Main Line at Sonning Cutting. One thing I will say just before we get there regarding Woodley, you know, being the largest town in Berkshire without a railway station, and nearly 38,000, the next largest town in Berkshire, which is not a town actually, next largest settlement in Berkshire without a railway station is Burfield Common, with approximately 7,000 people. So it's 31,000 different, and I think we'll find this throughout the home counties. Most of the large towns do have a railway station, but there are obviously going to be one or two exceptions. Now, the whole point of this video is Woodley does not have a railway station. We're just coming to the very edge of Woodley, just over there. There's a sign just here. It says Sonning, and it's twinned with a town in France. I wonder if that town has a railway station. So we've pretty much come to the edge of Woodley. Does it say? Yeah, there we are. There's Woodley. So we're at the edge of Woodley, and here is Sonning Cutting. Now, this, when Brunel built his Great Western Main Line, it had exemplary engineering. They call it the billiard table from London to Bristol. It's dead flat, and that's why you had to have feats of engineering such as this huge cutting to be dug out. It's about a mile long, and it cuts through the hill. I did come here once to see a steam train earlier at Edgecombe, and I forgot to switch the camera on, and I was annoyed with myself. Look, there's actually a turbo coming on. You don't often see turbos on this section of the main line now. Let's just watch that. (165), 119. I've been on all but one of them. I think it's 165, 122, which I need. So you can see it's not really a practical place to build a railway station, and even if they did, it's a fair walk from the town centre. What has been mooted, now whether it will happen or not, is the idea of a railway station possibly between here and Twyford, or maybe even the other side of Twyford, as they gradually build more houses. Probably wouldn't be called Woodley though, but there is a possibility maybe one day we may see another railway station built down there, but so it'll be a bit nearer to Woodley, but it won't actually probably be called Woodley Station. I'm now going to make my way from the northern boundary of the town to the southern boundary of the town, which, as I said, also happens to be, the boundary happens to be a railway line. I've now been walking for about 2 miles through housing estates. Now, I quite like walking around housing estates, and you know, it shows how large the town is. The fact I've walked for 2 miles just from Sonning Cutting, and I've already did a good 2 miles before that. So since getting off the bus, I must have walked about 4 miles, and I'm not done yet. As I said, I'm taking you to see the railway on the southern boundary of the town. But we have one quite nice bit here of the town. This is known as the South Lake. This lake was here before Woodley grew up, so this is a reminder of the rural Berkshire before Woodley. I'm going to continue on past the lake, and we're going to go and find the railway line which forms the southern border of Woodley. So I've now been walking for a few more houses, and approximately somewhere around here is the southern edge, southern boundary of Woodley. And as I said, it would be, the boundary of Woodley would be a railway line, which we're just about coming up to now. As we get to here, at this late stage in the video, I'll bring you Early Station. So this is Early railway station, serving Early, which is that way. But as I said, the edge of Woodley is just there. So if you live in that part of Woodley, you have literally got a railway station on your doorstep. It's just not called Woodley, and it's a good mile or so from Woodley town centre. So I'm not sure exactly where the boundary is. Some say it's between the two railway tracks, which you could then say, well, the up platform at Early is technically in Woodley. I'm not too sure, but the point is that there's not a railway station in Woodley town centre. We have got this one here at Early. So in terms of a town that doesn't have a railway station, the largest town in Berkshire not to have a railway station, it has got, you know, it's pretty well connected for transport. It's got the buses, and like I say, if you live in this part of Woodley, you can just walk to Early Station. I'm going to go there. I'm going to tick the station off. I've not been to it. It's the first new station of the year I tick off, so good to tick it off early in the year. Couldn't possibly come and tick it off in December, I'm going to go and catch a train back to Reading, and then I'm going to go home. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. That really helps the channel. It'd be nice to reach 15,000 subscribers this year. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to go during the course of the year and visit some more largest towns in the county without a railway station. Goodbye.